Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Poddy C episode number 73. Goodness gracious, it rhymes. I'm Stumpy. He is Cole, and we have got
mystery guest.
What a guest!
Who could it be?
We can see him.
I
suppose people they'll click it in the name. They'll see him in probably the thumbnail, just Jack's face, and that's it. You're all right, Jack. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. We had a little chat about our mornings. You said you had quite a chill morning, I think, today, so which is quite nice.
Yeah. Nothing really going on. This is kind of the first thing I have, really going on with my day properly. Anyway,
to be fair, I was listening to that conversation when I was setting up, and I do respect the fact that you said you woke up, you've walked the dog, you've had a shower and all that. That to me is a darn productive morning. Like you've ticked a lot of boxes already, and you're like, no, not really done anything.
Well, I guess my life is very like, if it's not to do with Rocket League, then you've actually not done anything like productive. And that's such a toxic mindset, but that is like the mindset I have and have always had. So it's like, yeah, it is, but it doesn't feel like I have yet. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I get you.
You are right. I guess I have done the things I needed to do. So
it's no 0 days. That's what I've learned. So as long as you do something, walking the dog is one thing. Like I've done, like I said, we had a little chat beforehand. I worked out in the kitchen and I went too hard and then I felt sick and I had to just sort of stand there for a minute and just like drink water, just going, oh.
Yeah.
Like, it was not the one.
I regularly message Stumpy and just say, fuck you, Stumpy. And that's my one thing done of the day. I've done that.
No 0 days.
Exactly.
No 0 days. That's what we were here for. Jack, so you've been on the podcast before.
Yes.
And it was so incredibly long ago, and the world has changed immeasurably.
Yeah,
so
it definitely has.
I had to listen back. So the first time, I think you've only been on once, but the first time you were on the podcast was the 11th of August, 2021.
Cool. Wow.
So coming up on 4 years ago.
So I was actually 17.
God.
I was 17.
You've turned into a real adult human being since then.
You've got a personality now.
I don't know about that. But I would have been just turning 18 the following month of that podcast. So that's pretty crazy.
That's mad. But yeah, so I had a little list. Now, I wanted to also see where the Rocket League world was at the time.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk too much Rocket League here. We're much more interested in Jack as a person rather than a player. But it's quite nice to look back at. So Season X had just ended.
Yeah.
Like it just finished. And can you imagine a world where you were teamed up with Jorias and Panda? Like
I know, like who would have thought to do that? Just idiots to do that. But yeah,
insane to think about.
Yeah, I guess. That would have been the end of that. It would have been, I think, a couple of months after we got knocked out of the last regional. We didn't make the championship of that season, so yeah, it would have been a time of roster change, I think.
And do you remember what the roster change was that we were talking about?
Yeah, we obviously dropped Panda and got in Scrub. I don't know if Scrub was the option at the time. Was he already announced?
Yeah, he was already in. So, and we were talking a lot about this being like a 1v1 team, and we were like, this is insane. Like, can you imagine such a thing?
Yeah, that's well, we did okay, and then we didn't. So it was there was a team. It was a team. We had some good. We had a regional win.
Did that dig?
We had a regional win. We had a regional second place. We had multiple top fours.
Went to
top
LANs?
8 at LAN. Yeah, we made 3 LANs, 4 LANs.
Stockholm, right? I remember your guys' first one when you were like favourites, right?
Stockholm.
Is that correct? Yeah, I remember that.
We were like fake favourites, but like we
idiots of the RLCS cast team, we thought you were favourites.
We did well in the Swiss, and then like
3-0 in the Swiss, then knocked out to Semper.
Yeah, because we 3-0'd them in that Swiss as well, and then we lost in Game 7. And in all honesty, as everyone always says this about taunts that they got knocked out, but if we won that match, we probably just win the major, because we would have we're so confident against BDS at that time, and then like if we make the finals, we just have like unlimited confidence. But yeah, it's one to put away in the mind, I guess.
I feel like you're a great sort of response to people who say like, oh, I can't follow Rocket League because the team's changed too much, because in that event You were with you were still with Jorias.
Yeah.
You had you just dropped Panda as Stumpy said, but you were up against Semper and Archie, if I recall.
Yeah.
And recently him and you guys in GK have had lots of little battles. So like things have been fairly sort of similar.
You had Monkey Moon on BDS.
They've changed a lot and gone back.
That.
Yeah, I mean, like Rocket League has had the same or similar names at the top level for a long time, which I actually don't think people. I think people realize it, but people don't really talk about it. But that is the case. We have had a few players come up, but a lot of the familiar names are still there, which is quite cool. But you're talking that era of players. We are we're the older, more experienced players now, like by far, which is crazy. To think
Scrub's
like
40.
Archie and. Yeah,
Three kids, I think. So good for him. You also, during that podcast 4 odd years ago, it was such a nice moment, and it was a really nice thing. So we were saying what also ambitions do you have for the team, for you, Jorias and Scrub? And you're like, I'd love to, firstly, go to a major. That would be amazing. And I was like, that's just not you set your sights really high. And then you then said, it'd be cool to get top 4. Since then, by the way, you've obviously gone to pretty much every major that you can go to.
Pretty much. I missed out on London. If I didn't with that team, if we didn't miss that LAN, I've actually qualified for every single LAN possible that I could have qualified for, which is quite an achievement. I'd be proud of that. I mean, we'll see if I can keep it up. It's tough to do. But it's. I definitely had goals, and I've so far, I'm not talking like I've ended my career because I'm still playing at a very high level, but so far I've hit the goals I had, and more, in all honesty. So yeah, very happy with how the last few years since that podcast have gone really results wise. Yeah,
you smashed it. I mean, you said we wanted to get top 4. Obviously, you managed to win that when you headed over to the US, because at the time, as far as I know, you didn't have any sights on the US. You were very much Europe. I don't know if there's anything public behind the scenes, but
I guess I probably would have never talked about it, but I always wanted to live in America at some point in my life. Not talking about Rocket League career-wise, but at some point in my life, I wanted to experience America properly, because I was very lucky enough to go there multiple times growing up, and I always loved it visiting, which is obviously very different to living, but I always wanted to do it, and I guess I may not have said it at that time because I was 17, and what 17-year-old is going to say, I want to, in their first season of Rocket League, I want to move to the US to play Rocket League. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I guess I ended up doing it not even that long after, literally 12 months later, exactly, because it was August. I would have been planning the move to US of 2022 that I did it. So I guess it wasn't that long after, which is kind of weird to think about. Yeah.
Do you miss America? Because obviously it's such a different culture and a different place. We've been there for weeks at a time, and then I'll be honest, by the time I come home, I remember one of my favorite ever meals was
quite happy.
After I'd been in Vegas for about 2 weeks. I came home and I had broccoli. And it was
I remember you having broccoli. You got broccoli from a taco place as well. And it was
you're right. That wasn't England. That was in California rather than Vegas, because we hung out at Wave Punk. And it was like, oh my god, it tastes green. And I'm a man who likes my sludgy food. Do you know what I mean? Right. So yeah, when you came back, did you immediately sort of assimilate back into the UK, or did part of you still miss it and want to move back, or how are you feeling there?
So I missed the weather. That's what I will say. The weather in Texas, because that's where I was. I was in Austin, and I moved to Dallas. Kind of similar time lengths in both those cities. And the weather is incredible if you like hot weather, which I actually do. And it was like 40 degrees a lot of the time, which is really hot. And probably that's way too hot. But on in months where it wasn't that bad, you're talking 27s, 31, and it's really nice heat, really nice weather. It's like lovely and sunny, which in the UK is obviously not the case. We actually have had some good weather here, at least where I'm at.
2 days of it. It was lovely.
No, you know what? Since I've moved back, I've actually been quite lucky with the weather, I will say. But I would say that I miss the heat. And apart from that, I miss the friends I have in America. Rettles and Hoxer and players like that I was actually living in the same building as. That was nice to experience that with. But other than that, no, Not really. I don't miss it. I mean, America is a very
it's a place at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, we will say that, yeah. But it's also just very like, I don't know. I don't know. To live in it, I think there'd be other cities, other states that I would choose over living in Texas. Like, we have at the time of recording this, we have the the major in Raleigh.
Raleigh, yeah. Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, in North Carolina. And actually, I was actually looking at moving to North Carolina briefly when I was living in Austin. I was looking at Charlotte and Raleigh. So I was like, I'd like to experience a different city because I loved Boston when I went to Boston.
Boston was the major there is like one of my favorite cities. Did you feel like it felt super European?
Exactly.
And obviously it's a very early city, but like it's super walkable, really cool things.
The buildings are very European. It's a lot more walkable than most US cities, and that's why I loved it so much. And that's what Texas isn't. It's very the buildings are very, to me, they're very like American and just the same, and they are very. It's not a walkable state at all. Austin, Dallas is not walkable cities. Austin's not too bad, I guess, but still, you have to drive everywhere. And I think it's just a mess. And yeah, I didn't fully because I didn't fully experience it because I was so busy with Rocket League, I guess, when you're putting in a lot of hours, you're just not going to fully experience a place. So I guess I'll look back on it and maybe wish I did more, but I don't know if I would have enjoyed it much more than I did. I did enjoy Toronto though. I was there for 3 months, and even though I was very busy with Rocket League, Toronto was awesome just to kind of walk around and felt very safe and just very nice people, and lots to do. I love Toronto. Yeah. I
think I felt that about like when people say about North America lands and stuff. I feel like we haven't done any Canada lands, and especially with like for us ultimately as talent, we need to look at like visa situations and stuff. And the US at the moment is super flaky with it. There's been on the talent side of things, Shogun multiple times has not been able to get a visa for like years and years before like COVID times even, and then even post that I've been very lucky where for whatever reason at the 11th hour my passport's been sent back to me and I can fly out like the same day, and then I'm working later, right? But then we've had times where like Johnny can't make it, CJ can't make it, Cole can't make it, Shogun can't make it. And like it would be nice to have an NA LAN in Canada where then US fans can still go there, but we then don't need to worry so much about all these very expensive visas just to get us there. And I feel like players might kind of quite like that too, especially when you look towards, current, like, again, obviously not to make it very political, but like with the border situation with like Saudi Arabian players, there will ultimately, I'm sure, this time be a larger amount of problems happening, which really sucks when they've already qualified, and it has happened before.
Was it Khaled that couldn't make an event, or Senzo?
Yes, I don't know. I don't know who it was, but it was someone on. No, they didn't have to step in. They could. Oh, well, hang on. Actually, what's happened twice?
I think there was one team that couldn't come, and then one individual player that couldn't come, so a coach stepped in.
Oh, it's happened 3 times. Hang on. So you had Sweden. You had Sweden where they had to. Didn't they have to play with Senzo instead of Khaled?
No, Khaled was there. I remember seeing him in.
No, he wasn't there. He wasn't in Sweden.
Wasn't he?
No.
Ahmad was definitely there, because that was the Ahmad.
Was there,
it was Ahmad, TRK, and
was it?
Senzo.
I'm going to back Jack over you, Stumpy. I'm sorry, mate.
I back Jack as well, but I still want to challenge it.
And then it happened the following LAN in LA.
Ahmad, TRK, Senzo, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and then it happened the following LAN in LA. LA? I think it was LA, yeah.
Yeah, LA was the next one, because that was our first one with the crowd.
Yeah, where we had, it was the group that I was in, and we completely bottled the group. Because it was a 3-team group, and it was like the freest top 6 ever, and then we got reverse swept by SSG. And that LAN I still look back at and get annoyed at. But yeah, because they just couldn't make it. And then it also happened, didn't it happen at this recent Worlds? Or something.
God, probably.
Yeah, well, you know how Oxygen got put into this world.
That's when Oxygen came along, of course. The team
because Venom's team, something Sleeping, was it Sleeping or something? I don't know what the team name was, but
wasn't
one of the
anything
teams from MENA, anything,
anything had to step in, right?
No, anything.
That was it. Yeah, because anything was the previous rule 1.
Yes, yeah,
because
exactly,
of situations.
Yes, yeah, and they couldn't go.
Yeah.
And so Oxygen stepped in. So yeah, you're right. It's happened a few times with American lands. I guess Sweden isn't
and Sweden as well.
America,
Yeah,
but it has happened. Yeah,
if
a few
America
times.
has its way, Sweden will be part of America.
Very true. Let's go red, white, and blue land.
But yeah, Canada, Toronto. I love Toronto, so I think a LAN there would I'd be very welcome in that.
Well, I think we've also looked at obviously the fact that you moved to the US, now you're back in the UK. You're also living with Geordies, as people may well know her.
Yes.
That is so exciting. That's really cool that you two are like moved in together, because she's also moved down from Scotland, which is like, and as far as I remember from when I've chatted to her, the arse end of Scotland as well. Like she was in the middle of nowhere, like, and she's come down.
She was. Yeah. It's been nice. It's both our first times living with someone, and so yeah, it's obviously new and different, but there's really been no issues. In all honesty, there's nothing. Nothing to, people kind of say, like, obviously, like when you move in with someone, like you have to get used to how they just live, because you're not used to that. But yeah, it's been pretty smooth in all honesty. And yeah, we live in Manchester and getting used to a new area and a new city. So yeah, it's cool. It's been good so far.
Did you guys meet through like streaming or anything like that? How did you?
We met at the Dallas World Championship in 2022. She was there. Yeah.
Jack, do you want to know an embarrassing story that I remember about this?
Oh no, I
don't know if I've spoken to you about it before.
Okay, do I want to know this?
Maybe you do. I think
Jack
it's funny.
It's like, oh, sorry guys, I can't.
I think it's funny and quite endearing.
Oh, God,
but I might just be being like the embarrassing like adult in the room.
Probably are. Go on then.
Yeah, that's fair. So I remember we went to the was it maybe like a musty after party that had like the bowling?
Okay, the Clover. That's okay.
Yeah, the Clover after party. Really cool after party. It was in like kind of a there was like bowling lanes, there was like arcade machines, there was like Rocket League on like computers and whatever. And I remember I went over there with like Johnny, CJ, Athena, Rizzo, Cat Jeans, like a few people. And I remember, I think maybe beforehand, or like when we were there, I saw you like out around and whatever, and I'd like seen Panda, I'd seen everybody. And then I think I hadn't seen you for like an hour or so. And I turned around as we were leaving, and you and Joe were both sitting like on the side, like kind of by the big window by the edge of the bar. And you were absolutely off your face. Like,
no, I was not. No, I wasn't. I was 18 in America.
Legally, he was not, Stumpy.
You were not trolleyed, and maybe we cut this then in hindsight. But
no, it's fine.
But yeah, you were having therefore a very good time with a load of non-alcoholic waters. And it was clearly the vibes were getting to you. And you were having a wonderful time. I remember you and Joe were like just in your own little world, and I remember thinking this is really sweet, just chatting each other's ears off.
Yeah.
And I went over to you both, and I was like, because I think beforehand, Jack, you said when you guys are leaving, let me know, and if there's a room in your Uber, can I hop in with you? Because we were in the same hotel.
I think I remember that.
And I was like, okay, cool, yeah, fair enough. I'll like try and find you.
Right.
I wandered over to you, and I was like, all right, Jack, we're heading off. Do you want to come with? And you just looked at me like I just interrupted the biggest like Riz sesh, like going. You looked at me like, motherfucker, can you get out of here? Like you are cramping everything right now. This is. Can you please leave?
I'm sorry.
You didn't say that, but I thought,
okay. You can see it in his eyes.
Jack's putting in the legwork here, so I was like, look, we're heading off.
Usually, I'm quite good at hiding my true feelings of what I think about. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to come across that. I mean,
very funny.
I probably didn't know what was going on, so yeah. I mean,
that's
fair. Well, that night was, that was when we kind of first, properly met, I guess. I mean, we met a few like nights before that, but spoke kind of properly for the first time, and it was I remember that night. It was funny. I've had a lot of people tell me about situations that they remember of me that night of talking to Joe basically for the entire night, and so
it's very very sweet though.
But a few years later, it worked out. So I'm glad I spent the time, and we're fine now. Yeah.
That's good.
I just muted my mic, by the way. I don't know if that's
don't worry about it. It's only SubPar viewers. I don't care. They've heard the every day of their lives. What's it like, the two of you sort of living together then? Because you're both making your own videos, but your content sort of overlaps as well. I'm imagining you both want to keep your independence. How do you balance all of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. We don't talk about Rocket League really outside of what we do. And we rarely have over the last few years. You know, of course, there's going to be times where you're just like, oh my God, like, you know, this has happened and, you know, you want to talk about it with someone. But it's very rare that I enjoy talking about Rocket League with people. This sounds horrible, but the people aren't directly involved in the pro scene. Like you guys are directly involved in the pro scene, you know, with casting and stuff. So I'm fine to talk about Rocket League with you guys. We're talking about it
Thanks,
with...
man. That means a lot.
No, that came across a little weird. But talking about it with other people, it's just not... Yeah, there's no way for me to say this without sounding like a dick, but it's just not cool. It's not fun for me to talk about, you know what I mean? Because
I'm guessing you're always answering the same questions. It's more of an interview rather than an actual discussion, right?
And it's so like... You can possibly never say anything that they would understand, right? And so there's no point. You know what I mean? Like, and I know what you mean, yeah. And of course I'll still talk about it because, you know, you're still talking about it with someone that wants to talk about what you enjoy and stuff. But it's, you know, you don't want to overdo it is what I'm trying to say. And so we really keep it separate. She knows that we never really talked about it, especially when we weren't living together. Of course, now it's more... you have to because it's more part of your natural day that you have to speak about anyway. But
like if you have scrims or whatever, it's like that directly impacts your day. Yeah.
Can you switch off easily? Say you have say you personally have a shocker, right? You have a terrible tournament, terrible match, and then you go downstairs and you know she's doing her thing, and then you've got dinner and you're sat there. Are you stewing over it, or does it disappear in your mind when you're sort of hanging out with her and in general?
I'm very good at dealing with losses. Like I'm very good at dealing with losses. Like I have lost so many times, and that's not like a you know bad thing
to brag or anything.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry that you guys haven't lost so many times, but I have.
Yeah, we're actually waiting to lose. So.
But I have, and you just learn to deal with it, and I actually always knew how to deal with it because it's just not it's not the end of the world for me. And that doesn't mean that I don't care, but you have to enjoy yourself. And I do enjoy myself with what I do. So I want to win, and it plays a big part of my mind, but I'm also like, I guess, you know, present enough to be able to go like, okay, stop being an idiot. Like, just don't let it affect other people's day. Of course, you're naturally going to be sad. You can't always just put on a face and try to make other people happy. But if you're just overdoing it for days at a time because you've lost a match or hours at a time and just letting it affect other people's day, then it actually crosses over to you being a prick, really, rather than anything, you know. I don't know if I can swear on this podcast.
Fuck it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, like it does cross over. You just being a bit of a weird guy. Like, just don't do that. So I'm all right. I just hide it or don't let it affect me too much. I
think it can also definitely bleed too far in, right? Where like you can stew on a loss so much that then it ends up being such a so much so that you then play your next match, but you're still kind of stewing over that last one. You're like wasting brain energy on that last one, and then you then might lose this one, and that's then going to make you shit for them for your next match, and it kind of becomes that domino effect.
And that is hard to stop, and that is a pretty common thing in sports and esports. But like, there's a quote I think that's it's like the best athletes have like short-term memories, something like that. And it's like you do have to have a short-term memory with anything you're competing in, because your mindset can affect how you play. And if you're always thinking about how previous matches, previous losses went, then you're never going to play well. And I guess I've always like I've had bad losses a lot, and then done very well in the next kind of tournaments. And so like I've always been very aware that just because I lose a match, just because I do bad in this one tournament, then I'm actually going to be fine because I work hard and I'm pretty consistent in the game. Sorry about that. That's the one bad thing about living here.
That's Manchester, baby.
Lots of crime.
The amount of crime I see. The amount of like police cars, ambulances, and just stuff like that, and just loud noises from the road that we're next to, because we're on the main road, and it's pretty bad. But I don't let it affect me too much. Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to ask you about then Manchester, kind of as an extension. Because what made you choose Manchester? Because I recently moved up to the northwest as well to move in with my fiance. I'm on the Wirral, so I'm not too far. I'm like 40 minutes or so away from you. I'm like kind of Liverpool way.
Oh, Cool. Yeah, I was in Liverpool the other week. I feel like I knew that about you, but kind of didn't at the same time. I think
I've chatted to Joe a couple of times because I was intrigued about Manchester with her because obviously it's like so far away. But what made you guys choose Manchester? Because I like it as a city. It's nice. Yeah,
I love it here so far. I basically love cities. I grew up in a town, in a pretty small town, and in the Midlands, and so I basically wanted the complete opposite of that. And so I love London. Right, it's kind of the main point, and I wanted to live in London. I just didn't want to spend that amount of money to live in London. Right, and it's just not even if you can do it, it's best not to, I guess, for the first time of living somewhere new with someone. I just didn't think it was the best option to jump straight into spending that amount of money because London prices are just ridiculous.
We've had a few friends that have lived there and then a couple of years later have had to move out because
it's ridiculous.
Lovely. You can do literally anything you want there. It's great.
I love London, yeah.
But it's twice as much as you're spending in lots of other cities that have got 90% of the amenities.
Yeah, I absolutely love London. There's so much to do, and I would live there. I'd love living there, I think. But it's so much money, and especially in such a volatile job like I have, it's just not smart to spend that amount of money so early on.
It's hard as well with at the bank as well. I bet when you explain what you do to professionals, they look at you like you're from Mars. So you say, right, so I compete in a video game, and also I make content. I'm on YouTube,
right?
And they're like,
so YouTube is this video platform on the internet.
I speak to a lot of people who say they're on YouTube and they've got 14 subscribers, so I don't really trust you, you know?
I guess I have had a few issues with that of when I've rented apartments because I lived in Austin, Dallas, and now Manchester, so I've had to go through the process of renting with new companies each time, and so you have to prove all this stuff, and it's never easy with what we do because it's it just looks a little weird, it looks a little strange. But Manchester basically was the next best thing to London in my eyes of it's quite similar with so much to do and in all honesty I don't want to speak about money and all that, but the prices here for what you get is so, in my opinion,
I've heard
so
it's basically
good.
similar but way cheaper, Manchester
I
compared
swear
to London.
our apartment is lovely and it's nowhere near the amount we'd pay in London is what I'm trying to say, and it's just it's way better to live financially.
I've definitely found that when moving away from, because I was East Midlands, so I was Northamptonshire way, so I was further down south, and it was the prices for things were, even though when I'm fully outside of London, I lived in a little village and I recently sold my house, and so getting rid of that house and then looking at prices up here for when we're going to buy again in a couple of years, the difference in what you can get is just astonishing, and the proximity to things too, where you said about Manchester being great for that. I think Liverpool's very similar, where and there's a lot of preconceptions with people, and I said about this a lot on stream as well. There's a lot of preconceptions with cities in the north and kind of what there is to do and what they're like, especially from living for me further down south. And Manchester, along with Liverpool, are some of my favourite cities now in the UK. Manchester to me feels like a mini London. We've got friends that live there, and we'll go there, and even just the way that the roads are all laid out, and where how all the buildings look, but then there's big chunks of greenery, and all of the food is so unique, and just everything like that. I think, like you say, moving from somewhere that's a lot smaller, a lot more isolated, into then I'm not in a city but near a city, it's night and day.
Exactly.
And I think you said that you also visited Liverpool as well, and it's very interesting, I think, to kind of take the preconceptions that I always had as a kid, never visiting Liverpool, never visiting Manchester, coming up here and thinking, that's fucking lovely.
I grew up being told Liverpool is the worst place on earth. I don't know why. I think
it used to be.
I will say as well,
the
accent is quite a scary sounding one. I can see how someone who doesn't live there would think the accent comes across I don't even think
I think it's warming and lovely.
Do you really? I don't think people
depending on the person,
scary,
because every now and then you walk through Liverpool city centre and you see some fucking specimens.
Oh, you do anyway.
Of course. But
that's
lab escapees, and you're and they are, you can't understand the tongues they're speaking in, and it's it's mesmerising.
All I'm
it's still
saying
English somehow.
is, if I were to threaten you and Liverpudlian actor Stephen Graham were to threaten you in his accent, who are you more scared of? Big Graham.
Or Stephen Graham, even if he was posh, because he's just sort of a dense human being. Yeah.
Jack, I just want to ask you. So we talked at the start of this about how the last time you were on this podcast was August 2021, when I was still in my 30s. Margaret Thatcher was PM. And you were saying you wanted to get top 4 at a major. Since then, you've sort of moved in with a partner. You live in a place that you love, in an apartment that you love.
Been to the US and back again, won a major.
Lived in the US as well. Yeah. What do you think that 2011 Jack would think if he could see into the future and see where you're at now?
2021 Jack. 2011 Jack's bloody ages ago.
2011.
What did I say? Did I say 2011?
2011.
Oh, sorry. 2021, Jack.
What do you think 8-year-old you would have thought of you now?
2021.
2021. I'd be happy. I'd be proud. Really. I think again, like I said earlier, I don't want to speak like I've retired, but I've hit all the goals. A lot of the goals that I had. Of course, there's still big goals that I haven't hit. But I've hit a lot of the goals I had and more. And I think that I was very. I don't think I've changed much, in all honesty, with what I wanted to do in Rocket League at that time and what I still have done and carry on doing, because I believe that I would have wanted to carry on with YouTube at that time, streaming and content, because I was in 2021 August I would have been decent on YouTube and streaming and stuff, so I would have carried on that, and I've done that, and it's been great, and I've been consistent with it. I still am very consistent with it, and same with competing. So my goals haven't really changed, and I guess I hit all of them, and overachieved on some of them. So I'd be happy if I was to look into the future and see myself where I am now. I guess it's gone by very fast because I finished college 8 months after, which is kind of insane to think about. I finished college 8 months after that recording or that posting of that video, God. And then I blinked and it's today. And I swear that's exactly what happened. Like I blinked and it's today. Yeah.
Well, the difference between recording in 2021 and now is when we catch up with you in 2029.
4-time world champion by then. It's actually happened.
Monkey Moon dethroned as the GOAT. What kind of targets would you have for the next? Let's not say 4 years, because that's a fucking long time, and I wouldn't know.
I hate the 5-year. I never have a 5-year.
5 years is madness. I have no idea.
Weird to me.
What would you look like towards the next couple of years, like as kind of those goals? Like you said previously, top 4 at a major would be amazing, and you've obviously gone above and beyond with that. You've won a major, your first time also going to the US, blah blah blah. What would be your goals looking forward to, like, say, our next recording in a couple of years?
Right. You know what? I don't know if it's going to be the answer that people are looking for, unfortunately. And I don't know. Like, I guess I don't know. Like, okay, in all honesty, Rocket League, I don't know how long it's going to last for pros. And not in the, doom and gloom sense, but just in my sense. Like, I don't fully know what I want to do. And in all honesty, and I think everyone goes through this, and that's completely natural. I've been through it loads of times and stay with Rocket League and stuff, but I don't know how long I'll be competing for. There's a good chance every off season is my last kind of stage of competing. Really, there was a chance last off season that I wasn't going to carry on. There's a chance this off season. There's a chance next off season, and so it's really tough for me, who is a person who likes to plan super far in advance and have like my life planned basically, or at least be on a good trajectory and that I can see. It's really tough for me to have done this and do this, because you just can't with what we do. I have to take it day by day and just enjoy it for what it is, because I truly don't know when it's going to be my last tournament, in the sense of when I want to stop and when I also have to stop, because you have to stop when you're not playing well anymore. That is the sad reality of it. Luckily, I've been very consistent and try very hard to improve. So I've never dropped off massively in skill. Of course, when I won the major, I was at a very, very high peak. I'm not quite at that level anymore, but I'm close enough to still compete at majors, still be competing on a top 8 international stage, and push higher, for here and there. So it's like you just got to take it day by day, and you never know, what to plan for, what to do. I guess for me, in 2 years' time, this is what if I was a gun to my head, I had to predict what was happening. I presume I'd actually not be competing in RCS anymore. I'd still be doing content. I would probably. I think I might be in uni. I think that's actually a high. A
mature student.
Yeah, which I'm not sure how I feel about, but there's not much.
The wording mature student when you're like
yeah, I think that would be. It would just feel. It might be a little strange, but I'm not fully opposed to it. I'm not set on it either. But I've been thinking. I always think about what to do. So I guess I've been thinking about whether that is a solid option or not. I don't know
what would you study. Out of interest.
Don't know. I have no interests in Rocket League's been very, very good for me, but it has, and it's mostly my fault, of course. You don't have to let this happen to you, but it has definitely stunted. That's the word. A few of my interests, I guess, or just natural interests outside the game.
Are they sort of taking a back seat because
it has? Like I said, I'm not kidding when I said earlier that I finished college, I blinked, and it's today, and it's gone by so fast that I don't know if I've changed much as a person, and that's not necessarily a good or bad thing, but it's more so just like I've been so focused on Rocket League that I actually haven't thought about anything outside of Rocket League. Like these last few years have genuinely just been Rocket League, and that's quite scary to think about, because as stupid as it sounds, and as you feel, it makes you feel somewhat behind in life, even though you're completely not. Of course, I'm not trying to say that, but in certain aspects, what you want to do for the rest of your life, it does make you feel behind to other people that you see have gone through uni. And know what they want to do, kind of. But I know that's not what it's like. I'm just being naive, I guess. But yeah, that's what it feels like.
There's also I was going to say, so there's also the other side of the coin where they would, because I've also felt that kind of not like the word FOMO, but that kind of they're doing different things and they're experiencing different things. But then they'd also, I suppose, look to you and be like, I'm straight out of college and he's been able to travel to the US and blah, blah, blah. So there's always grass is greener, right?
Absolutely,
kind of mentality.
Go on. I was going to say, would you ever, because I think I'm similar to you in the sense that if I do something, I like to be all in it, which drives Stumpy mad. I know, it drives my partner mad. If I'm playing football,
far too floaty. I'm a floaty human.
We're definitely
different
ends of that scale. And I mean, I could be wrong here, but I imagine you're the sort of person who, if you're doing Rocket League, you are doing Rocket League. You're not messing about with it. This is the game that you're going to play. You're going to study it. You're going to become pro in it.
Yeah.
Say you did start to, even with trying to do that, just the natural drift off that every pro will have. Would you ever do both? Would you ever sort of still play Rocket League, still compete, while a content creator, something like Garrett's done or Squishy has done, or is it going to be
retiring?
I'm retiring when you
stop?
Well,
there's really no point not to, other than, I guess I would, because if you go into content, the content of playing a tournament is just such good content, especially if you're good enough, which touch wood, and I presume so. Most top level pros, when they retire, are still good enough to compete.
To hit that
and
top
especially
16.
and especially if I stopped sooner than people would think that I'd stop. I don't believe I'm going to be one to retire, to carry on competing and struggle to make main events and still be competing. I professionally, I don't think that's me. In all honesty, I'm too I don't know what it is, but I'm quite
Is it like when kind of one foot's out, you're kind of all right, well, I'm not going to drag this on.
Yes,
I'll now switch focus.
I want to do my best in everything I do. So when I no longer can do what I accept to be the best, I would stop. I think I would stop. So I would do content, I guess, Cole, but I wouldn't be competing in RCS and doing uni and doing content. I probably not. But maybe just the RCS runs for fun, like you see Squishy and that do. Because they are retired, they're not scrimming. Probably I would do that as well. But I would still be playing a few hours a day for content, because my content is revolved around me being good at the game. That's the that's the slight unfortunate thing, is that my content is revolved around me being good at the game. So at some point, I won't be able to do content anymore full time because my fans are here for the gameplay, really. And
it's both,
and I think,
I suppose it is both.
I imagine
ultimately,
I think you're doing yourself
I
a
think a
service
few
there.
are. I don't think it's massive. Other people, I have this conversation so many times with my friends in Discord, like the pro players, and they tell me that I'm being stupid, basically, and that like more people would watch me, not just for the gameplay than I think. But I'm quite pessimistic, I guess, about that one point.
I suppose you can always look at what other pros are doing. Obviously, not to put down other pros at all, but like what other pros do in terms of content where they will not receive the same number of views, even if they are technically as good as you.
Right.
So there is a lot of personality side to that. Obviously, like people tune in for that. Like,
kind of, but I also think that's down to natural, like human, like familiarity
Maybe.
of things. Like they like to go with what is familiar to them. But I think it's a little bit more than I truly think of. Like, maybe people are there to.
It's always going to be a bit of both, right?
Yeah,
like, there'll be a mix of people. I know that like when I watched recently the video where you and Flitz went undercover in an SSL tournament.
I actually watched that video in full last night, which is very rare for me to enjoy one of my videos.
It was so. You are firstly a fucking menace, and I'd hate playing with you when you're trying to own goal it, and you're both like trying to like psycho on each other and like playing as each other. But that was very funny. But that's that kind of thing where like, I guess it's not just it's a different kind of video, I suppose, but it's not just going to be the gameplay. That's also the personality kind of coming through. And Flitz's personality obviously also there and kind of elevating the video.
Definitely. I think that as well, not enough high-level Rocket League players make content. So like even if you're not a top level pro player, like you don't even have to be top 16 in your region for your gameplay on YouTube to be some of the best Rocket League gameplay on YouTube, because so little pros make YouTube content. It's just not really out there for the pro scene. So like you can be on the cusp of top 100 players in ranked, for example, or even slightly outside of that, and still be making some of the highest level gameplay content on YouTube. So I guess it would be, and I would have the skill to do that, I believe, for years, even if I don't try really hard. I just think that I've learned enough now to stay at a consistent level, near the top 100 of ranked. Even if I don't fully try my hardest like I do now with putting in so many hours, I could probably do less and still be at that level. So we'll see with how content goes. But to answer the question of like, back at the question of 2027, the next podcast, like I have no idea what I'm going to do. And I think it's very unlikely that I'll be competing in RLCS at that stage. I think that I would actually go into coaching an RLCS team and content, which I guess I didn't talk about. And that's probably answering your question, Cole. I probably wouldn't be able to compete in RLCS casually as a content career, because I would probably go into coaching an RLCS team, hopefully, anyway. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see about future career options.
Well, I'm excited to see how that goes, because obviously you've also set yourself up as Jack the businessman with the next rank. In terms of that coaching, that also leads into it quite nicely, where yourself and Johnny have set up a brand new coaching website, The Next Rank. We are partners of The Next Rank. Use code SubPar. I think having like those kind of avenues where you do have the different levels of income, the different sources of income too. What ultimately pushed you to found this new website with Johnny Boy, as opposed to just going on websites like Metafy or other coaching websites? What was it that made The Next Rank the thing that you wanted to do? Was it a you venture, a Johnny venture? What was kind of the process?
So we were in this. It started a long time ago, actually. Like it took a long time for us to launch that. Partly due to the complexity of the project, I guess, and how big it is. There's a lot to it, but also just to maybe partly just due to our schedules and how busy we were with our own stuff. So this started in Singapore. Yes,
that's how all good stories start. Let me take you back to when I was in Singapore. It's like, oh god, this is going to be a wild one. Okay, go on.
We're in Singapore, so that was for the what show? It was for the Olympic
show match thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was for the Olympic
Carmine
show
thing or whatever it was that Shogun got stuck on a plane for 15 hours.
Yeah, Shogun got stuck in a German airport for a day.
Probably. I don't even remember that, but yeah, like we were playing Carmine in an Olympic show match, and we were in Singapore for like a week for the show match, even though it was just for like a 2-hour show match. Carmine literally got there for like 24 hours before. They flew out like 10 hours after the match, and they just my team, we were there for like a week. We just had a holiday basically before the spring major. I'm not gonna lie.
Which team was this? Sorry.
Me, Nolly, and Chronic, and Alu. Alu was there too, and I think Alu was there too, and we just qualified for the spring major for the Boston through a tiebreak where we shouldn't have qualified. So we were just completely like high on life at this point. We were like, this is awesome. Let's just take a week in Singapore anyway. Like, we're completely fine. And then we actually got a good result at Boston anyway. Going on a tangent. But yeah, so me and Johnny were just speaking about it in a hotel room, and he was just like, oh yeah, I think about, you know, doing some sort of coaching. And I was just like, well, we should just do it together. I think we both kind of said that. And it was very just like it was very quick, like, yeah, we should just do that. Like, why aren't we doing that? It's like, me and Johnny are very good at coming up with like analytical content, I guess, and helping people learn. You know, Johnny has helped numerous people learn, and I think I chose to do it because Johnny helped me learn so much, and mainly from his videos and from his content, that I was like, it's just a good pairing. So I wanted to do some sort of coaching just to branch out into something else. I've always enjoyed the idea of having multiple things that I can fall back on as in a massively, like I said earlier, massively volatile industry like esports is. You know, that's why I started my my streaming initially. I started my streaming but to get my name out there, to get people watching me for another kind of branch aside from competing, and I did the YouTube channel. So, you know, there's three things there. You've got the YouTube, the streaming, and the competing. And then I wanted to do the coaching on as well. So, you know, you've now got four things that you can rely on. If one fails or if three fails, you've got another thing, and that's quite like attractive for me to do, because I should do it. You know, you're missing out on if you don't. Basically, is what my thought process always is. You know, I would always regret not doing it in the future. So yeah, we wanted to do that. We wanted the extra kind of side of things to our business, and it's also a nice thing to have, because it's one of the most rewarding things, having people learn from stuff you create. I will say that we
have massively, like,
yeah, I appreciate that.
After like 9 years, and Cole has tried to bully me since the start of Rocket League to learn how to fast launch aerial, and it sounds so
You're gonna trigger me.
Stupid.
You're gonna trigger me.
That I've never done it before, but literally, I think I just thought, I'll get to it. I'll get round to it. I've got other things to focus on, whatever, blah blah. Then didn't focus on any of them. Again, I think we're very opposite in that, Jack, and I'm opposite to Cole in that too, where I'm just like, fuck it.
Right.
I'll do it. I'm playing Rocket League. I'm not particularly bothered. I can kind of do this and float about, which does kill Cole as well. But then I watched, like, I think half of the fast launch aerial video, did it, and I was like, oh. And then I like went up about 400 MMR.
Yeah.
Literally in the next like 2 weeks, it was just mental.
The amount of like DMs, comments, I can pull them up right now, like that I get. There's literally a tweet on, like, right at the top of my mentions tab and Twitter right now. A few days ago, someone added me and Johnny. It's like the first day that I got the next rank, I went up from champ 1 to champ 3, and it's just like, you know. With the first, let's talk about that real quick. The first day, a lot of it is going to be the confidence from having this and having like just the confidence in who is telling you this piece of advice. A lot of people have the skill inside of them. They just need that extra little bit of like confidence to just get it. And you know, I don't like. I don't deny that. It's, you know, that's where it's going to be. But a lot of people learn from it, and it's the most rewarding thing. In all honesty, it's having people come up to you and, one, enjoy what you've created, and two, learn from it. It's
I can tell you that I
can speak high of it.
Mechanically, I'm doing my best to catch up, and pretty much every morning, genuinely, this isn't just like an ad read. Every morning, I'm waking up and I'm looking at a different video. Some of them, sometimes I get naughty and I skip ahead, like double flip resets. That'll be fun. Other times, I am doing the fundamentals, so I'm being a good boy. And then every now and then, get a bit bored of those and go to something silly that will take me 6 months to learn. You know, so truly, I am genuinely pleased as a player. Like, take away the content creation part of it. As a player, I'm happy this thing exists, and I think that the next rank and the videos you put out and everything that you have been creating over all these years will serve people well in a game they love for many years to come, Jack. So I hope that, I know you were saying earlier, like, oh, people only watch because I'm good at the game and stuff like that. I hope that somewhere inside of you know that there are people that are very grateful for the stuff that you've made and for you as well being in this scene.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. No, I know that. So, you know, it sounds egotistical. I know that, like, because I've been told so much from comments on Twitch and stuff that, yeah, but that's what I meant earlier. Like, people are there for that kind of analytical improvement side of it. When I can't give them that anymore, maybe I always will be able to for as long as this game is active and stuff. But
I mean, I speak for myself when I say if I get better than you at the game, I don't want to speak to you anymore. So yeah, I get you. I understand that.
At 35 years young, Cole is double flip resetting, and it's something to behold.
I'll tag you in my first one.
Jack, we had like 4 other things we wanted to talk about, but we are running out of time because otherwise we could, I'm sure, chat for like 4 hours about things. But we'll save these topics for 2029. Sure. Yeah, they'll still be relevant if you'll talk to us from your golden yacht. Retired 4-time world champion, Monkey Moon in shambles. But thank you for chatting to us, mate. It's always fantastic.
Of course. I really enjoy it as well.
Whenever you're in Liverpool and you want to meet up with a boomer and get some drinks, then send us a message. Or probably get some dinner. Cool, Cole, you can come up as well. Have fun.
Yay.
How delightful.
Thank you. Ooh, an invite.
You get the invite. You can drive us there and back.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys.
Sound all right?
Yeah, why not?
No
worries,
driver.
I'm pretty sure you can drink drive in Liverpool legally, so yeah, it's all good.
I think it's encouraged. Yeah. Well, if you've still got 4 wheels on your car. Thank you, Jack, though, for hanging out. Super appreciated. And yeah, wishing you nothing but the best. Do you want to like plug anything in particular while you're here?
No, not really. I mean,
Sick.
I like if anyone wants to follow me on or subscribe to me on YouTube, APPARENTLYJACK on YouTube, APPARENTLYJACK on Twitch, Twitter, all that. But no, it's all good. I appreciate the invite. It's always very nice to talk to you guys, just casually. It doesn't even feel like we're doing a podcast, which is the nice thing, I will say.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a nice conversation. I appreciate everyone watching as well. So thank you everyone tuning in.
Awesome. Thank you, mate. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in for episode, Christ, was it 73 or something?
I want to say.
73 of the SubPar Poddy C. You can go to the next rank, use code SubPar for 5% off. And you can also, obviously, catch that when he's streaming, catch us when we're streaming on SubPar, but in HD. Check out our YouTube shorts. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. Jesus Christ, we are bloody everywhere like a rash or mold. We are truly international. But yeah, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you for the next episode. Goodbye.